You know, there are names that just echo through history, right? But very few belong to a mind so powerful, so brilliant, that it could, quite literally, move the world. Today, we are diving deep into the life of one man whose thoughts would go on to shape the next 2,000 years of science. This is the story of Archimedes.
So, let's just jump right in with a classic riddle. Imagine your king hands you his brand new golden crown. He's got a terrible suspicion. He thinks the goldsmith cheated him, mixed in some cheap silver. Your job? Find out the truth. The catch? You absolutely cannot damage the crown. So, what do?
I mean, this is the kind of mind we are dealing with here. Not just a clever problem solver, but a thinker whose ambition was literally cosmic. And that wasn't just him being arrogant. No, that was a statement of pure mathematical certainty. He understood the lever so well he knew that, with the right fulcrum, anything was possible.
To really get who this guy was, we're going to take a journey through his whole life. We'll start with his origins in Syracuse, then get into these so-called impossible problems he just solved. We're going to see how he was centuries, even millennia ahead of his time, how his mind became a terrifying weapon of war, and finally, how the world he helped build is pretty much the same one we're all living in today.
Okay, let's begin. Our story kicks off around 287 BCE in Syracuse. Now, this wasn't some quiet little town. It was a bustling, powerful Greek city-state over in Sicily, a real hub of culture, trade, and conflict. The absolute perfect place, it turns out, to forge a mind like his.
So how does an Archimedes even happen? Well, you can really see it was like the perfect recipe for a genius. For starters, his father was an astronomer, so he was swimming in science right from birth. Then he went to study in Alexandria, which was basically the intellectual capital of the entire world. And, this is key, he was connected to the king, King Hiero II. This meant he wasn't just doodling in the sand. He was being handed real-world, high-stakes problems that needed solving. And this, right here, is where he just completely changes the game. Archimedes was arguably the very first person to systematically take pure abstract mathematics and use it to explain and, more importantly, manipulate the physical world. He didn't just think, he did.
Remember that crown problem? Well, here's how he cracked it. The legend goes he's getting into a bath, probably just thinking about this problem, when he sees the water level rise, and suddenly, Eureka! The light bulb goes off. He realizes the amount of water that spills over has to be equal to the volume of his body. And here's the brilliant leap. If the crown had less dense silver mixed in, it would have to be physically a little bit bigger to have the same weight as a pure gold one. A larger volume would mean it displaces more water. Boom, problem solved.
And that eureka moment, it wasn't just a clever party trick. It was the discovery of a fundamental law of physics. This very principle is the bedrock of all naval engineering. Seriously, every single ship, every submarine that has ever floated does so because of this one elegant idea discovered in a bathtub over 2,000 years ago.
And his practical genius? Oh, it didn't stop there. He was the first to actually write down the mathematical law of the lever. This allowed him to build these insane compound pulley systems. So powerful, they say a single person could pull a fully loaded ship right onto the shore. And then there's his screw, a simple, brilliant device for moving water uphill that, in principle, we still use today.
But here's the thing that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. As incredible as all those inventions were, they weren't his real passion. To truly understand Archimedes, you have to look at his work in pure mathematics. This is where he was operating on a level that humanity just wouldn't reach again for nearly 2,000 years.
Just think about how he calculated pi. He didn't just measure it, he proved its value with cold, hard logic. He used what he called the method of exhaustion. Basically, he trapped a circle between two polygons, one just inside it and one just outside it. And then he kept increasing the number of sides on those polygons, all the way up to 96 sides, squeezing the possible value of pi into this incredibly tight, incredibly accurate range. It's just beautiful.
Okay, this is staggering. To figure out the volumes and areas of curved shapes, something nobody could do, Archimedes came up with a method of slicing them up into an infinite number of impossibly thin pieces, and then adding them all up. You know what that is? That's the core concept of integral calculus, the mathematics that powers our world, from finance to spaceflight. He basically invented it, 1,800 years before Newton and Leibniz would get all the credit.
And this right here, this really tells you everything you need to know about what mattered to him. Not the golden crown, not the ship-pulling cranes, this.
He proved that the volume and the surface area of a sphere are exactly 2/3 of the cylinder that it fits perfectly inside. To him, this was his masterpiece, the one perfect, beautiful discovery he wanted to be remembered for forever. So, all of this work, this life of the mind, it all builds to this incredibly dramatic final act. The year is 214 BCE. The full might of the Roman Republic is at the gates of Syracuse. And the city's greatest, and maybe only defense, is the mind of a single 70-year-old man.
For 2 long years, Archimedes turned his genius to the art of war. He designed these giant catapults, precisely calibrated to hit targets at different ranges. He built the absolutely terrifying claw, a massive crane that would just reach over the city walls, snatch Roman warships right out of the water, and smash them to pieces. There are even these wild legends of a heat ray that used mirrors to set ships on fire.
I mean, you have to understand the psychological effect this had. The Roman soldiers were completely demoralized. They became so paranoid that if they saw so much as a piece of rope or a plank of wood appear over the walls, they'd turn and flee in a panic, convinced it was another one of Archimedes' infernal machines coming for them. But in the end, Syracuse fell. The Roman general, who was actually a fan, gave strict orders to take Archimedes alive. He valued that genius mind. But a common soldier stumbled upon him, completely lost in thought, drawing a math problem in the sand. When the soldier ordered him to get up and come with him, Archimedes just waved him off and muttered his famous last words. Well, the soldier got enraged and killed him right there on the spot. It's just a profoundly tragic end. The greatest mind of the ancient world extinguished in an instant, all while he was just trying to solve a problem. It's this perfect, heartbreaking symbol of the eternal clash between reason and brute force.
So why does he still matter so much? Because his death wasn't the end of his story, not even close. His legacy is, and I'm not exaggerating, the very foundation of our modern, technological world.
See, his single greatest contribution wasn't a machine. It was changing how we think. Before him, science was mostly just philosophical debate. After him, science became about mathematical proof. He's the one who gave us this revolutionary idea that the universe isn't just mysterious and random, it follows laws. Laws that can be described, predicted, and harnessed with numbers.
And his impact isn't just some abstract historical footnote. It is everywhere. In physics, his principle of buoyancy is non-negotiable for everything that floats. In engineering, his screw is still a model for how we move all sorts of stuff around. And in math, his proto-calculus is the great-great-great-grandfather of the systems that run our global economy and let us send probes to other planets.
Ultimately, this is why we study him. He is the original blueprint. He's the archetype of the modern scientist. He represents that perfect, beautiful balance between deep, pure, abstract curiosity and the relentless drive to take that knowledge and use it to solve real problems in the real world.
And if you need one last, final piece of evidence for just how incredible his mind was, get this. His book on his calculus methods, called The Method, was lost for centuries. It was only rediscovered in 1906, hidden underneath the text of a prayer book. When modern mathematicians finally deciphered it, they were absolutely stunned. They realized that this man from ancient Syracuse had figured out the core of their field almost 2,000 years before they did.
He was killed protecting his circles in the sand, those symbols of pure, unadulterated thought. And it leaves us with a really powerful question for our own time, doesn't it? In our endless rush for immediate results and practical applications. What are the areas of pure curiosity, of fundamental research? What are the circles we should be protecting at all costs today?